Hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for SilverFest on behalf of Arcadia Economics, and honored to be a part of all these great silver experts that we have here. And now you can see from goldsilver.com, the legendary Jeff Clark. Jeff, great to have you on board here today. How are you doing, my friend?
Great. I love the topic that you came up with, Chris. So hopefully we'll have some fun here. If you can see me okay?
I can see you okay. If you see in the upper right corner of your slide deck, there's a little microphone sign. You might want to hit the mute on that. It looks like it's picking up a second audio and may get a little feedback if you see that. But I think we're good to go. And this panel is at SilverFest 2020. What's the price of First Majestic Silver going to be when silver crosses 50? I know we have a lot of people excited to hear this one, so I'll step out of your way, Jeff, and you can take it away.
Okay, great. I'm going to go really fast because I know we're running a little behind schedule. But hi, everyone. I'm glad you're joining. And yes, this is the stock to be talking about right now for obvious reasons. So there's who I am if you're not familiar with me. Couple disclosures. I am a shareholder of First Majestic Silver. I have been to their mines in Mexico. I do know management. I've known them quite a while, actually. But I don't speak for them. I don't work for them. So everything I'm going to say today is going to be my opinion only. So the obvious question that a lot of shareholders have is First Majestic Silver has shown a lot of leverage to silver in the past. What happened this year? So this table shows you the leverage that silver has provided to, or First Majestic has provided to silver in the past. So from 2008 to 2011, there you can see over 4.5 times leverage to the silver price. Not a 4.5 times rise, 4.5 times rise to what silver did. 2016, 10 times leverage to the silver price. 2019, almost 6.5 times leverage to the silver price. And then you get to 2020 and look what's happened. Silver's up almost 50%, but the stock is actually down on the year. So obviously, what's going on? First thing is, in 2020, the silver miners, believe it or not a lot of people are aware of this, they're actually trailing silver. The gold miners are leading gold, but that's not the case with silver. So there you can see silver's up almost 50%. SIL, the silver miners ETF, is actually trailing silver. It's underperforming silver. So as a group, the silver miners are underperforming. And there you can see what gold has done. That's not the case with gold. The good news there is that we have leverage to silver yet to look forward to. That's my opinion. Let's deal with the elephant in the room, and that's the tax issue. And I do think that the tax issue is a big reason for the stock's underperformance. And let me make sure that slide is showing. Yeah, it is. Okay. This is coming from an old stream agreement that the company got from their Primero purchase of the San Dimas mine. The important thing to be aware of is that no laws have been broken by the company. They have not done, something that warrants a fine or anything like that. Secondly, and importantly, the Mexican government's already lost on this issue. This issue already went to the Mexican court system, and the Mexican government lost. First Majestic won. The government's not accepted that, and that's why it's still an outstanding issue. So one thing that has hindered the price is that some fund managers cannot buy the stock because of this, quote, outstanding legal issue. So some of these funds will have a mandate or a prospectus or something that'll say we will not buy a stock that has an outstanding legal issue. So according to their prospectus, they may not actually be able to buy the stock. So that obviously has hindered the stock to a certain extent. Behind the scenes, I can tell you the precious metals secretary in Mexico is talking about it. However, the government has not come back to the table yet. So in my opinion, I do think this is probably headed to international arbitration here in the next few months. That's my opinion only. It's just a guess, but we're probably headed to international court. Okay, let's talk worst case scenario. If the company were to lose the entire tax liability is $214 million. Sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but it's only 6% of their market cap at current prices. And anything less than 10% is considered immaterial to a lot of hedge funds and things like that. The reason is because First Majestic Silver is a large producer. They generate a lot of cash flow. They can't absorb it. They would take a hit, obviously, to earnings and things like that, but they can't absorb it. It won't be a deal killer or a company breaker. That's the worst case scenario. In my opinion, the worst case scenario is not likely to play out. If it goes to international court, First Majestic could win. If they lose, there'll probably be some sort of agreement on a lesser amount. This does need to be resolved favorably, in my opinion, because the message it would send to other companies operating in Mexico would not be good. I do think it does need to resolve favorably, though, because this is going to be a big issue for the country. So hopefully that's not the case. A similar thing did happen to Wheaton Precious Metals. It was Silver Wheaton at the time. Once that issue resolved, the stock did rebound tremendously. Okay, so what are the catalysts real quick here that could reverse the performance of the shares? Here's what could be coming over the next 12 months. First of all would be exploration success. This would not be surprising. Believe it or not, not a lot of shareholders know this, but First Majestic Silver is going to have 30 drill rigs operating by the end of the year. So you'll see a press release from a junior saying, hey, we got 5 drill rigs operating. Well, First Majestic is going to have 30. And the reason they're able to do that is because because of the higher cash flow that they're now receiving because of higher silver prices. The one to watch is probably Santa Elena. There's enormous potential there. There's actually the possibility there could be a whole nother satellite mine there. If that's what they find, we're talking decades and decades of mine life. That mine would probably outlast me. So watch the news for Santa Elena or any exploration success. The next thing would be the restart of La Guitarra. This is a silver and gold mine only. There's no other byproducts. However, this does need a new mill. It'll take 9 months to build, so that would take a little bit of while. But the higher silver goes and the more sustained that higher level is, the more likely they are to restart that mine. Obviously, that would be a lot more production. M&A, get this, the company is, quote, very active. That is right from the horse's mouth. They are looking for the, quote, next chunky producer. What they mean by that is they want a large mine that is near term and almost ready to go. They don't want a real small junior. And look at this. They said they are open to assets outside of Mexico. So it could be inside Mexico, but they could also be looking in the U.S., Canada, Australia. They can't say anything yet, but they're actively looking. It isn't that they want to be in Mexico. It's that they want a big mine that's going to be something that's going to produce a lot of metal in the near term. The San Dimas Hig Mill. The Hig Mill is a high-intensity grinding mill. It grinds ore down to the size of smaller than the width of a human hair. So when you're able to grind ore that low, you get higher recoveries, which means you get greater production. That Hig Mill is being installed as we speak. It'll be installed. They're constructing it now. It'll be installed first half of next year. Ermitaño comes online next year within a year or less. Basically, the grade there is going to be 10 times higher than the old heap leach material. So output, it's the same tonnage, but the grade is that much higher. So output's going to increase 20, 30, 40%. That's my estimate. This is an 80% gold deposit. So the cash cost for silver would actually probably be negative. Another catalyst, obviously, would be a settlement of the tax issue. I wish I could give you a timeline on that, but I really don't know. It's probably going to go to international court, and then from there, it'll be something within a year or less. And then, of course, there could be a white swan event like what Eric Sprott announced this week, buying $78 million worth of shares. It is his largest silver investment. I think everyone knows Eric Sprott is a big silver believer. He's invested in a ton of silver juniors, but his largest silver investment now is in First Majestic Silver. Believe it or not, the price he paid was 2% above what the price was on Thursday. He's now the third largest holder of the stock at 2.3%. So could there be another white swan event like that? That was something we all weren't looking for. So we'll see. So bottom line, where is the stock when silver hits $50? Well, our context is this. First of all, the stock is deeply undervalued. It normally trades at 15 times 20 cash flow. Today it's at 8, so it's roughly half of what it normally trades at. So that's one context you want to be aware of. Secondly, insiders are buying. Eric Sprott invested heavily in the company. After that transaction closes, they're going to have $160 to $170 million in cash after Eric's investment closes. Next, the tax loss issue will be resolved one way or the other, sooner or later, and those institutional investors that have been on the sidelines will come back once that issue resolves. Again, I don't have a timeline on that, neither does the company, but it's going to be resolved one way or the other, and that'll free up the lid that's been kept on this stock with some of these investors. The company now gets 70% of revenue from silver. This is the highest of all the majors and mid-tiers. For example, Pan American Silver only gets 25% of their revenue from silver. When silver rises, First Majestic Silver is going to benefit much more greatly than any other company, which means cash flow is going to explode when silver starts to run. So when silver runs and is going up to 50 and probably even higher, I do think we are going to see some leverage return to the stock, even if the tax issue is not resolved. So, drum roll, I think the leverage does return to First Majestic. I think at $50 silver, that's basically silver doubling, maybe a little less than that. It's like 26 something now. If I'm right, the leverage would be 3 to 4 times on First Majestic, even with the tax issue there. That puts the stock in that range. These are U.S. prices I'm referring to. The stock is actually trading a little below $12 right now, but I think that's the range we're probably looking at. If the tax issue is resolved by the time we get to $50 silver, look out above. I think as a lot of you believe, I believe that silver is not going to stop at $50. I think it's headed much higher. If we get triple-digit silver, we get triple-digit First Majestic. That's what I think. Above silver, I think you basically can add a 0 to your current investment if you're buying at current prices. So you can see in the big picture, I'm not too worried about the stock right now because this is a long-term hold for me. Bottom line for me, First Majestic has the highest leverage to silver in this bull market, higher than any other company. So the higher silver goes, the greater cash flow they get more than any other company. Costs are falling, recovery rates are improving, production's growing. It's run by a very successful CEO, Keith Neumeyer. He's someone who believes triple-digit silver is coming. And as some of you know, he held back on sales when prices were real low back in March and April. For me, it's an excellent long-term investment for the bull market. And if you don't know, I have a lot of mining stocks. I really eat further down the food chain and the juniors and things like that. This is the only silver producer I own, and that's because of the reasons that I've outlined here. So I encourage everyone to track your investment. If you own the stock, you can sign up for company press releases on their website. I encourage you to do that because there will be things coming over the next 12 months that could impact our investment. You can also follow them at Twitter. There's their handle. I also post updates on First Majestic on my Twitter handle. There it is, as well as all of my buys. And if you want to watch silver, we do talk a lot about silver at goldsilver.com. If you don't know, I work with Mike Maloney there. He strongly believes triple-digit silver is coming, and you can read his book for free to understand the reasons why he thinks that. It's very simple. Just go to goldsilver.com/free book. So I know I went really fast there, but I know we're running a little behind, so I wanted to give you that information as best I could. That's my view on the stock and why I think, ultimately I'm not worried tremendously about ultimately where this thing is headed. I really do like the stock, and I have no intention of selling, and will be adding on any other further big dips. So I hope that's helpful, Chris.
Jeff, you talked briefly about your silver forecast. I heard you were chapter 11 of a book that came out earlier this year explaining why you think silver has the potential to go to $50 and beyond. And I thank you for being a part of that. And That was your chapter 11 of the Big Silver Short. And
yeah, I just reread that again, Chris, and that was, nothing's really changed there. Everything that I said back then when we recorded that interview is still the case. So I still think triple-digit silver is highly likely. So, and that's going to mean a lot of good things, of course, for First Majestic Silver. But if anyone hasn't read that chapter, it's still all valid as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you for sharing this. I know there were a lot of questions. Although, folks, First Majestic actually does have a booth here. Keith will be coming up in a little bit as well, so you can check in there. Jeff, thank you again for joining me at SilverFest, and appreciate everything you shared today.
You're welcome, Chris. This is a great thing, so let's keep doing it, and let's see where First Majestic Silver and silver itself is this time next year.